Vidya samastastava devi vedaah striyas samassa sakala jagat tvayaikaya puritamam vayaitat kate stutishtavya para paroktihi. All forms of Vidya, that is, all the forms of knowledge, are your aspects. Oh, Devi, all women in this world are your aspects. All women are the forms of Devi. The whole world is filled only by you, O Mother. The whole world is filled by you. Whom else we can sing? You are beyond that place. You are beyond the stotra. All forms of knowledge are your aspects. Is same as already mentioned in the first chapter, the 79th sloka also mentioned this. You are the light of understanding. Also, in the 4th chapter, 10th sloka also said that you are the treasury that holds the Vedic hymns. And also in the 4th chapter, 11th sloka also said this. You are the intelligence by which the essence of all scriptures is understood. So, Shakti is the pure consciousness, Chit, and contains within herself all possible modifications of consciousness. All forms of modifications of consciousness, nothing but manifold forms of knowledge. The absolute knowledge, what we call Vidya, is unitary. But this mantra speaks of knowledge, Vidya. Vidyaha, knowledges, in the plural form. So, it refers to also to the lower forms of knowledge that includes all branches of learning. The highest knowledge is, of course, Sri Vidya or Brahmagnana. So, Vidyasu, Vidyaha. So, having mentioned all the other forms of knowledge also, it includes all branches of learning like science, philosophy, agriculture, politics, medicine, commerce, and whatever you name it. Every other intellectual and practical skill. Similarly, the Lord, that all women are her aspects, and by her alone is the world filled, echoes Devi's abiding presence in the form of Mother, incarnate not only in all women, but every creature. She is not only incarnate in the woman, but in every creature. What price can be sung to you? It's a question. Rhetorical question it puts in the mantra. What price can be sung to you? Who are beyond price, beyond stotra. This recalls the Brahmastati in first chapter 82 to 84, designed to suggest that divine ineffability. Now we go to the next mantra. Sarvabhuta yada devi bhukti mukti pradayini tvam stuta sutaye kava bhavantu paramoktaya. O Devi, who have become all things, who bestow enjoyment and liberation, bhukti and mukti both, when you are praised. When you are praised, you have become everything, and you bestow enjoyment and liberation. In what words, whatever be their excellent, can extol you? No, it's not possible. So, this mantra or hymn has a character of a prayer. O Devi, You have become everything. You have become all things. This echoes the Meda's teaching that she has the world as her forum in the first chapter, 64th mantra. Of course, I don't want to talk about the intricacies of Parinamavada and all. This is also an equivalent statement of Parinamavada. That Parinamavada is doctrine that multiplicity we experience as the universe is an actual transformation of the ultimate unity and not merely an appearance. That is called Parinamavada. No, let me not go detail into it because it needs more understanding. It may need to, if you explain, may need to more confusion. Anyway, just as clay is transformed into a pot through a change of form, but the substance has not changed. Yes, the clay gets transformed into pot, but the form has changed, but not the substance. So also thread is woven into a cloth. That has changed the form, but the substance is thread remains. The Divine Mother herself takes form as a creation. She remains same, and she takes the form of her own creation. Now I must talk about Vivartavada also. Not very elaborately. Vivartavada is that the doctrine that the created universe is not a transformation, but only an appearance. This is Shankaracharya's Advaita Vedanta, which is Vivartavada. Neither real nor wholly unreal, superimposed on the sole reality of the immutable Brahman. We have seen now two, Parinamavada and Vivartavada. Now see what Shakta philosophy consider the physical universe, Bhautika Brahmanda, which is called Virat or Viraj, which is Devi's cosmic body, to be the supreme intellect permeating the aggregate of gross forms. In other words, which I have been always talking, consciousness manifest as matter. Yes. The term Virat, literally ruling far and wide, excellent, splendid, derives from the root meaning to rule, shine, be beautiful, be eminent, etc., and underscores the miraculous nature of the creation and its inherent worth. Of course, we consider, understand that the universe is just Maya, delusion. We should do so with the Shakta understanding that Maya is nothing less than the creative aspect of divinity. Yes, nothing wrong in understanding this. Maya is nothing but the same divinity in its creative aspect. Shakta Advaita or Shakta non-dualism proclaims that the natural universe, natural Prakriti, natural Brahmanda, however, imperfect in our experience. Yes, it is imperfect in our experience, but is absolutely saturated in the divine. Yes. It is the point that Devi Mahatmya makes emphatically. It's mentioned also in the first chapter, 64th shloka or mantra. She is eternal. She is eternal, and form is the world. Having the world as her form. If you take the doctrine of Parinamavada, on which bears enormous weight, is contained in the 8-syllable compound. Yes, I always love this 8-syllable compound. Bhukti Mukti Pradayini. Yes, that is the doctrine of Pranamvada. Its modest appearance believes that its significance and leaves us wondering whether our great authors found it so obvious as to warrant little more attention than what is required. The single expression lies a key to understanding the whole of Dehamatmya. The first element is bhukti, the worldly enjoyment, is very much implicit in earlier passages such as 4th chapter 15th shloka, which specifies the pleasures of honor, wealth, love, progeny, and all this boundlessly bestows in this world. Devi boundlessly bestows this. But its dramatic position to the second element, mukti, signifying eternal liberation from this world, causes us to regard both in a new light. You must here recall that the framing story concerns a king and a merchant who have each suffered betrayal and loss. The resulting inner turmoil follows them into the peaceful forest retreat of a holy man, Sumedha, who exposes the nature of their suffering by relating 3 stories of similarly dispossessed gods, evil demons, and the always triumphant Devi, right? The first story reveals that she is the supreme reality who manifests as the universe. Perceived through our own veiled awareness, this universe appears polarized, filled with the clashing dualities of light and darkness, pleasure and pain, right and wrong, good and evil. Whereas the second story, the example of Durga's defeat of Mahishasura, instructs the king how to live in the world, rewarded with the enjoyments that result from virtuous conduct. The third charitra, or the third story, relating to the destruction of Shumbha and Nishumba, teaches us, world-weary merchant, how to break the bonds of samsara and attain mukti, realization of the infinite, realization of the ever blissful self. The word bhukti derives from the same verbal root bhuj, the enjoy, use, consume, bhuj, as the noun bhoga, which broadly encompasses the enjoyment, bhoga, bhukti, enjoyment, eating, sexual pleasure, feeding upon, ruling over, experiencing pleasure or pain. Bhukti also, although world affirming, carries the implicit warning that in the relative universe, where opposites define each other, to reach for one is to embrace both. Yes. Mukti, to the contrary, is world transcending. The expression Bhukti Mukti Pradayani tells us that the dazzling splendor of the universe is here for us to enjoy. Yes. But we must play by the rules. Dharma. Even then, the very fact of living an embodied existence leaves us subject to the inescapable process of birth, growth, maturation, decline, death, and rebirth. This is called the wheel of samsara. The only way to escape this wheel of samsara is to return to the ineffable source of the world's bewitching wonder. Finally, one who is enlightened, one who becomes prabuddha, in other words, one who is awakened, recognize that Divine Mother is both nature and spirits, and that bhukti and mukti belong to a single consciousness. Yes. The bhukti and mukti belong to a single consciousness. Devi gives us both. Like the previous verse, this one ends with a rhetorical question of how the ineffable Devi can be extolled. No, impossible to. How can we extol Devi? No words are sufficient to praise her or extol her. No possible. Samasya buddhi rupena janasya hridi samsthite swargapavargade devi narayani namostute. Oh, Devi Narayani, salutations to you. You are abiding as intelligence. Where? In the hearts of all beings. Having abided as intelligence in all the hearts of the all beings, grants heavenly reward and final liberation. The expression here, buddhi rupena, in the form of intelligence, is also occurred in 5th chapter, in the what is called stuti for aparajita stuti. Aparajita stuti. Stuti for aparajita. Aparajita is who cannot be defeated. The same, it here also, it carries the identical meaning here. The first line of the present verse merely relates to the same idea more eloquently. Narayani namostute. Salutations to you, Narayani. Serves as the refrain of the next 15 verses or mantras. The name Narayani is regarded as an epithet of Vishnu's consort, Lakshmi. It is the feminine form of Narayana, but which the Mahabharata applies to Vishnu and his avatara Krishna. Narayana signifies the universal consciousness, inhabiting all forms, human beings, animals, plants, mountains, rivers and forests. Yes, the sun, the moon, the distant stars. The name is a compound of Nara, human being, and Ayana, going, walking, path, progress, etc., place of refuge. Meaning that Narayana, in this case, Divine Mother Narayani, is the ultimate resting place or goal of all humanity. That is, ultimate resting place is attaining moksha. So Narayani Stuti, continuously Narayani Namostute, in the further mantras also, shlokas also, salutations to that Narayani. That Narayani is the resting place or the ultimate goal of the human beings, particularly the intellect. Human being only aspire for that moksha, the liberation.